Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Friday, January 9th. I'm Michael Taylor, glad to be here. Have you had a really good first week of no parties, nothing to plan, no relatives, no cooking? Kind of a take it easy week, everything's back to normal schedule. Hope you have. I've had a pretty good week myself, and we got a great show for you today, so let's get right to it. We're on the show today. We're going to be welcoming folks from Legacy Memorial Services. We're going to welcome Denise Landon and Ann Stemmer to the program. Then later on, we got Sports Corner with Cole Young. I know what we're going to be talking about. NFL playoffs, lots of great stuff going on. We'll get some previews from Cole on that one and more. Right now, though, let's take a quick check of what we want to be informed about and Abundant Life Expo. Who doesn't want more abundant life? So it's coming up on Friday, February 27th, 9 a.m. It is a quarterly event. It's going to be over at Clubhouse 5. It is free to all comers, so just come on down. You can experience several health solutions to pain, stress, and sleep issues, along with anti-aging modalities and back pain products. All sorts of demos are going to be going on down there. Expo, like we said, is free. Get down there, and there'll be also some free food from 19 restaurants. For more information, you can get it there at the bottom of the screen, the email and phone number for Lauren Powers. And now let's take a check of our weather forecast, and look at that. First time in a long time where we've had absolutely no rain anywhere in the forecast. I'm loving it. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures in the mid-60s all the way up to 70 degrees on Sunday and Monday. Look at that. So nice temperatures for a nice rain-free weekend. First of those in a long time. Okay, let's take a look at our sunrise, sunset, and we got a beautiful picture out here from Palm Springs. Thank you very much, Marcia Goldstein, for sending this one to us. Sunrise this morning was 6:56. Sunset tonight is going to be 5 p.m. Days are getting just a little longer. If you guys want to send us a picture, we'd love to see it. Lovely picture there from Palm Springs, so you don't have to go all the way to Palm Springs to do that. You can take pictures right here, sunrise, sunset, places around the community. We'd love to see them. Email those pictures to us, Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, and we'll use it in our sunrise, sunset segment. Okay, we got a couple of meetings to tell you about, and then when we come back, we'll be talking to the folks from Legacy Memorial. Stay with us.
Hearing connects you back to life. Don't settle for being trapped in the isolation of poor hearing. Advanced Ear can help you hear friends, family, and caregivers. We provide one-on-one hearing programs that will amaze you with the quality of how much better you can hear. There's no cost to hear the improvement we deliver. You'll be able to hear better the minute you put these on. No buttons to push or technology to be afraid of. We deliver better hearing, guaranteed. Come in so we can connect you back to life. And remember, tell them Stuart sent you.
We're Denise and Ann with Legacy Arrangements.
We help families plan ahead for future funeral and cremation pre-arrangements. We represent over 70 mortuaries in the Southern California area.
We know these conversations aren't always easy, but we understand how truly important they really are. We are dedicated to making an uncomfortable conversation as comfortable for you as possible.
By planning today, you're going to lock in today's cost, and you're going to let your family know your future wishes.
It's truly a gift you give your loved ones.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Not an easy topic, but we're going to have this conversation anyway. Here to explain what pre-planning is and why everyone should be doing it. Welcome to the show, Ann Stemmer and Denise Landon.
Thank you for having us.
Legacy.
Be here.
You're with Legacy Arrangements,
Yes.
right? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us real quick, what is Legacy Arrangements?
Legacy Arrangements is very different than a traditional funeral home. We represent over 70 different mortuaries. Normally, it's just one mortuary, and that's what you offer. You don't have any other options. Mm-hmm. We can offer options everywhere. So if sometimes somebody works in one city, but they're living in another city, so you don't necessarily want to have it in the area you're working. You want to do it back at home. Right. So this opens the door for people to have many, many options.
Right. And like she said, we have 70 mortuaries, so there's it's not limiting. You know, if somebody even was out in Palm Desert or something like that, and they wanted to be have services back there, we can accommodate. We can accommodate them.
Wow. Wow, what a concept. I hadn't heard of that before. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting some more information. But there seems to be some confusion for viewers, perhaps. What is the difference, maybe you can explain, between pre-planning and burial insurance?
Sure. And it is confusing to people. So if you think about burial insurance is just a lump sum of money. Okay, so let's say $10,000, right? And you take out an insurance policy strictly for your burial, it's 10 grand. A funeral, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, is going to be far greater than $10,000. Okay?
Right.
It also doesn't allow you to make selections. You're not choosing what type of service you want, a cremation versus a full burial casket. You choose your caskets. You don't do any of that with burial insurance. A pre-planning funeral, you're actually selecting the service that you want. You're choosing the urn, you're choosing the casket, you're choosing the flowers. You're giving a plan to your family to guide them as opposed to just a sum of money. It also allows you to freeze the cost because a casket's cost today is going to be far greater 20 years from now.
Right.
Burial insurance has no protection of inflation. It's just a lump sum of money. So the plan is really offering your family a guide and securing the cost of today so they don't have any extra cost when the time comes.
Right, that makes so much sense. We're spending all this time doing estate planning, so this naturally
is under the same umbrella.
follows.
Same umbrella.
Same umbrella. And why it matters now is that the cost of living has risen faster. The cost of dying has risen faster than the cost of living by 25%. So
crazy?
to that
Yeah.
point is $10,000 today is not going to cover, in 20 years or 30 years, going to cover, maybe what you would want. And again, it doesn't secure anything. So
And
families
just-
still don't know what loved ones still have to make these decisions, and they're going to be in a room for about 3 to 5 hours if they want to look at a plot or a niche or something like that. It's very time consuming, and again, it's the worst day of their life.
Right, absolutely. Trying to process so many things, that is not something that they should have on their plate faced with at that moment.
No, and unfortunately, most families don't have conversations about it.
Well, as we opened, it's a tough conversation.
Yeah,
It is tough.
it's a tough conversation to have. So you have no idea what the person wants, and you're sitting in a room having to make decisions immediately.
You mentioned in your show notes that it's a gift to the family members that these arrangements are pre-planned, right?
It's a tremendous gift. I can speak personally for myself. My father passed in 2015, Thor, God of Thunder. And he was LAPD, and my dad was always very much about taking care of his family. So when he got sick, he was on hospice. There's 5 of us. And when he passed, my siblings all looked at me, because this is what I do, to take care of the arrangements. Unbeknownst to us, my stepmother spoke up and said, "Oh, your dad's taking care of it." And when I say everything, he had his clothing picked out
Oh my
and in a garment bag in the closet.
Wow.
He had his prayer cards done. He had every detail taken care of. And it makes me want to cry, because I thought, this man took care of his family to his last breath.
Down to that level.
He was not going to make any of us have to deal with any of this. And it truly, truly is an amazing gift.
Wow. So tell us the process. How does one get started?
So the process, the first step is you're going to want to reflect. Do you want a traditional service? Do you want a cremation? You can have a viewing and then still be cremated. Oftentimes people don't know that. You can do a scatter. Even if it's just a cremation take home, you still want to alleviate the stress and the pain. Your family's still going to be grieving, but you can make it so that they don't have to go in and answer questions. We have a pre-planning guide, a complimentary pre-planning guide that we can share with you, and you'll go through it, everything that's needed for the death certificate. You'll answer all those questions, banks, finances, those types of things. We've both done it. I even wrote a note. There's a section in the back. I wrote a note to my children so that they know exactly how much I love them, what they mean to me. I've talked about our life together and all of that. So it's just a gift for them that on that day, they're still going to be grieving, but they don't have to deal with questions about what I want or what they're going to do with me, it's all taken care of.
It's like your voice. You're leaving your voice, to your
yes,
family.
yes,
So there's no
exactly.
second guessing.
Yes. And we just saw a clip of an in-home visit. Do you find that when you actually do go visit on a one-on-one basis, that people sort of kind of relax into the situation and feel better about doing it after the fact?
I think in-home is more comforting than coming to a mortuary. So I think the preference is to go where the family's comfortable, because you want to relax. And that's Denise and I, our desire is to bring a very difficult conversation, an uncomfortable conversation, to be comfortable.
Right.
And we think about it in the same way you do a life insurance policy, a trust, a will. These are conversations you have with your spouse or your parents, right?
Right.
This is under the same umbrella. It doesn't have to be, that horrible conversation. And we talk about in the notes. Lots of families go, I don't even know how to have a conversation. How do you start the conversation? You just start it.
Just like you started talking about your life insurance or doing a will and trust or power of attorney for healthcare, any of those, this is all under the same umbrella. It's that final piece to the puzzle. And we understand it is uncomfortable, but it's better to have it taken care of than have people guessing what they want.
We've had families, because we both have worked in the side where death occurred. We worked with families all the time where someone had passed. And it takes all of the guesswork out, but you'd have someone come in and say, a parent died, and the kids are like, well, we want to take care of, the other parent, but we don't know how to talk to them about it. And I say,
It's great to have the family involved as well.
if it's happening at that time, what happens sometimes with people is we'll have a couple come, and we go through the whole thing with them, and they go, well, I need to go talk to my kids. And I say, be careful, because when you do that, your kids are going to think you're sick and you're dying.
Oh.
You're going to scare them. So I took care of mine and told my children after the fact.
So did I.
I said, it's done. Here's where it is. Because a lot of times if you talk about it in advance, kids are going to get scared. They're not going to want to talk about it. They're going to say, don't worry about it. And then nothing gets done.
Right. Yeah.
So I caution that.
I could see that. So can you give us the 5 simple steps to
So as I
pre-plan?
was saying, the step 1 is simply reflect. Just know exactly what you want to do. And like I said, even if it's a simple cremation take home, we still have to pick you up, bring you into our care. There's still a process. There's still death certificates that need to be created. There's a lot of different steps to it. It's not just throw me on the side of the road type of thing, as we hear sometimes, how are you going to get there? So there's still a process, even if it's just a direct cremation take home.
So the first one's reflect. The second one is how to have the conversation, which we just talked about. And the third one?
The third one is you'll meet with us. We can come into your home. As we stated, we can bring in a pre-planning guide, which helps direct you. We can talk about what mortuary, let you know all of the options that we have, the mortuary locations, and really just kind of hone down exactly what you want, and really get a lot of answers. It's usually we can do it in about an hour or so, and then it's done.
Get
and
that
then it's done.
hard conversation out of the way.
Well, and that's what I tell people. They're like, well, Dad doesn't want to talk about it. Well, you have the conversation one time, and then you never have to talk about it again. It's done and over with.
It's done.
Yeah. And step 4 is review and fund your plan.
So review and fund is what it says. You're going to review everything you've chosen, right? It's on a policy. So you're going to review the casket, viewing. Do you want a viewing, not a viewing? Whatever your selections are. And then you fund it. You secure it. So you can secure lots of different ways. Some people just pay it in full, be done with it. But there are payment options. You can put it on a payment plan up to 5 years, if that's going to better fit your budget and you're making monthly payments. And there's ways that you still have protection while you're doing that, and that's going to be another conversation, because that's going to be a little more in depth. But that's the time to secure it and be done with it. And then put it in with the other documents you have, your trust, your wills, and everything else, but it's now done.
And then you can share it. But we'll talk
That's
about
it.
that next time you ladies
Yes.
come back. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank
And
you.
We appreciate being here.
difficult topic, but I'm glad you were here and brought it to our viewers' awareness.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you back soon.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Ann and Denise. You're watching This Day on Village TV. We'll be back after these messages.
What would it feel like to hear better? Many people are trapped in the isolation of poor hearing and don't realize it. Even people that are wearing other hearing aids. No buttons to push or technology to fear. Artificial intelligence and these products do all the work. Don't settle for less. And remember, tell them Stuart sent you.
Hello and happy Friday, and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Corner. It's been a long few weeks since our last show, so we have a lot to catch up on, mainly in the NFL, as the path to the Super Bowl begins now. The NFL playoffs are officially here, and it's hard to wrap my head around the fact that all 18 weeks have already come and gone. It's bittersweet, but the playoffs truly are the best time of the season, and the wild card round begins tomorrow. Starting in the AFC, the Denver Broncos finished their historic season with a 14-3 record, clinching the AFC West title for the first time in 10 years. With a 19-3 win over the Los Angeles Chargers last Sunday, the Broncos officially claimed the first overall seed and the first round bye. They get a week of rest and recovery, and they will face the lowest remaining seed in the divisional round. The New England Patriots were right behind the Broncos, also with a 14-3 record, but claimed the number 2 seed with a dominant 38-10 win over the Dolphins, as well as finishing atop the AFC East for the first time since 2019. Now they face the number 7 seed Chargers. After a relatively tumultuous season, the Chargers still clinched a playoff spot, and while they still have an uphill battle, they still could find their way to a Super Bowl. The AFC matchup between the Patriots and the Chargers will kick off on Sunday night at 5 p.m. on NBC. The Jacksonville Jaguars have found their stride at the right time. Going into Sunday, if both the Broncos and Patriots would have lost, the Jaguars would be the number 1 team in the AFC. Obviously, both the Pats and the Broncos won, so Jacksonville claimed the number 3 seed in the AFC South title. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence put on a dominant performance, throwing for 3 touchdowns and leading the Jags to a 41-7 win over the Titans. The Jaguars are my Super Bowl dark horse this year, and I truly think they have the talent to win it all. First, in their way, in the first round stand the Buffalo Bills. This is the first time since 2019 that the Bills have not won the AFC East, however, they still claimed the 6th seed in the playoffs. Even though Josh Allen remained on the sidelines and didn't attempt a single pass, the Bills ran right through the Jets, winning 35-8. Every single season, Josh Allen and Buffalo's kryptonite has been the Kansas City Chiefs. Now that the Chiefs are out of the playoffs, the door is wide open for the Bills to claim their franchise's first ever Super Bowl title. This game between Buffalo and Jacksonville will be on Sunday at 10 a.m. on CBS. Rounding out the AFC, we have 2 teams that narrowly made their way into the postseason. The Houston Texans were the favorites to win the AFC South, however, the Jags claimed that title. Houston still has an incredibly powerful defense, which helped lead them to a 9-game win streak to end the season. But in their way of advancing to round 2 is the team that had the most dramatic playoff entrance, the AFC North winners, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The final game of the NFL regular season between the Steelers and Baltimore Ravens could not have been scripted any better. The winner of this final game would not only win the AFC North, but clinch the final remaining playoff spot. The loser would pack their bags and head home for the offseason. It was back and forth all game long, and 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers threw for a season-high 294 yards, the last 26 yards coming on a go-ahead touchdown pass to Calvin Austin with 55 seconds remaining in the game. Kicker Chris Boswell missed the point-after attempt, though, and with 55 seconds remaining, the Ravens got the ball back, down by just 2 points. On a game-deciding 4th and 7, Lamar Jackson found Isaiah Likely for an acrobatic catch and a 24-yard gain, putting the Ravens in field goal range. They wheeled out the kicking team, and with no time left, Tyler Loop missed the game-winning field goal wide right, and the Steelers clinched their playoff spot. Now, after the dramatic conclusion, the Steelers and Texans will square off in the final Monday night game of the season. So, time to revisit my preseason predictions. For the AFC playoffs back in July, I predicted 7 playoff teams would be the Bills, Texans, Ravens, Broncos, Chiefs, Bengals, and the New England Patriots. I got 4 out of 7 right. I was literal inches away from being right about the Ravens, but it was fully wrong about the Chiefs and Bengals. In the NFC, the conference is wide open for the taking. The number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks clinched both the division and the top spot in the conference with a 13-3 win over the rival 49ers on Saturday night. Quarterback Sam Darnold led the Seahawks to a 14-3 record and one of the top scoring offenses in the league. Now they get to rest on their laurels for a week and enjoy the first round bye. One of the biggest shocks of this season, the Chicago Bears, claimed the number 2 seed and won the NFC North for the first time since 2020. In his second ever season, quarterback Caleb Williams, joined by head coach Ben Johnson in his first ever season with the Bears, looked to lead Chicago back to another Super Bowl. In the wild card round, they will take on their historic rivals, the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay opened this season as the Super Bowl favorite, and they dominated for a short amount of time. However, injuries and some ugly losses bumped them down to the leaderboard and into the final slot of the playoffs. This game between 2 heated division rivals will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Amazon Prime. Next, we get a pretty intriguing matchup of the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Niners had a shot to secure both the division title and the first round bye if they could beat the Seahawks, but couldn't produce a win at home, even in their all-black rivalry jerseys. Now, they fall to the 6th seed and have to travel to Philadelphia. The reigning champion Eagles still managed to win the NFC East, however, it wasn't really pretty, and they got bailed out by a pretty bad overall division. Now, as the number 3 seed, they'll have to defend their home turf against a powerful San Francisco team. That budding rivalry game will kick off on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on Fox. Rounding out the bracket are the number 5 Los Angeles Rams and the number 4 Carolina Panthers. The Rams were Super Bowl favorites for a large portion of the season, but a few late season losses dropped them out of the running for the NFC West, so they had to settle for the 5 seed. Matthew Stafford is still the MVP frontrunner and by all means should win the trophy. I still believe they have the best chance in the NFC to make the Super Bowl. On the other hand, like the Steelers, the Panthers punched their ticket to the postseason in dramatic fashion. In fact, they lost their way into the playoffs. On Saturday, the Panthers only needed to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to earn their playoff spot and win the NFC South for the first time since 2015. However, Baker Mayfield led the Bucs to a 16-14 win in the pouring rain, keeping Tampa Bay's hopes alive. But the Bucs still needed the Saints to beat the Falcons on Sunday. Fortunately for Carolina, the Atlanta Falcons defeated the New Orleans Saints 19-17 on Sunday, eliminating the Buccaneers and giving the Panthers the top spot in the NFC South. This will be the first game of the 2025 NFL playoffs, kicking off at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow on Fox. In the NFC, I predicted the 7 playoff teams would be the Lions, Buccaneers, Eagles, Rams, Commanders, Packers, and, as a gamble, the Carolina Panthers. Turns out the Panthers were the smallest gamble of those picks and would be only one of the 4 teams I got correct. So overall, I got 8 out of 14 playoff teams correct, just a little over halfway. Not great, but not terrible. Also, in my regular season picks, I picked up another 4-0 week, ending my season with a 38-14 record. Since I began this show, I have a lifetime record of 156, 55, and 1 all time in the picks, which is just about 74%. Not too bad. Outside of the 14 playoff teams, some major news stories still occurred around the NFL. Myles Garrett is now the NFL's single-season sack leader after taking down Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow on Sunday. With 5 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, the Cleveland Browns defensive end made history at midfield, sacking Burrow for a 5-yard loss at Paycor Stadium. It marked the 23rd sack of the season for Garrett, passing TJ Watt and Pro Football Hall of Famer Michael Strahan, who were tied atop the list at 22.5. A day later, on what has become known as Black Monday, the Browns fired head coach Kevin Stefanski. The day was full of firings, though. The Falcons fired Raheem Morris, the Cardinals let go of Jonathan Gannon, and after just one season, albeit a pretty awful one, the Raiders parted ways with Pete Carroll. Possibly the most surprising move was the Baltimore Ravens firing head coach John Harbaugh after 18 years. Obviously, the last-second heartbreaking loss to the Steelers played a factor in this decision. Harbaugh ranks 12th for the most wins by a head coach in NFL history with 193 and guided the Ravens to a Super Bowl title in 2012. Harbaugh now leaves as the longest-tenured coach in Baltimore sports history and is one of 8 coaches in NFL history to record 300 games with one team. He finishes with a 193 and 124 record, including playoffs, and guided the Ravens to 6 AFC North titles, 2 number 1 seeds, and 4 trips to the AFC Championship game. Baltimore had only 3 losing seasons under Harbaugh, 2015, 2021, and 2025. It's rumored that somewhere around 7 teams have already expressed interest in bringing in Harbaugh to be their next head coach. Some other coordinators around the league have been let go since, and I expect some more head coaching positions to open up pretty soon. That was a lot of NFL talk, but I can't end the show without mentioning the college football playoffs. The first round went relatively as expected, with Oregon dominating James Madison and Ole Miss breezing past Tulane. Alabama was a slight upset over Oklahoma, but not too surprising. However, Miami holding Texas A&M to just 3 points was pretty wild. In round 2, that's where things got flipped on their heads. Oregon upset number 4 Texas Tech in dominant fashion, shutting out the Red Raiders 23-0. Then number 1 Indiana proved exactly why they are number 1, defeating Alabama 38-3 in the Rose Bowl. The two biggest upsets, however, came in the Sugar Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. Number 6 Ole Miss narrowly outlasted number 3 Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, completing the 39-34 upset. Then, in the Cotton Bowl, number 10 Miami breezed past last year's champion Ohio State, 24-14. Now, the stage is set for the semifinal round in the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. Last night, Miami and Ole Miss got the action started in Glendale, Arizona. Miami continues their streak of upsets, taking down Ole Miss and earning their spot in the national championship game for the first time since 2001. They will have to wait until tonight to see who their opponent will be, as Oregon and Indiana kick off tonight at 4:30 p.m. on ESPN. All roads lead to the national championship game in Miami, Florida on January 19th. Playoff football has arrived in glorious fashion, and the next few weeks will be a lot of fun in the sports world. Come right back next week for more news, scores, updates, and highlights from across the football world and all across the sports world. As always, thanks for tuning in for the first episode of Sports Corner of 2026. I'm Cole Young. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
Caring Senior Service provides a variety of care services to help seniors age in place. To learn more about how we can help your family, contact us today.
All right, folks, we got a great Friday movie. Does it get any better than Cher and Nicolas Cage in Moonstruck? It's a classic. You're going to love it. If you haven't seen it, make sure you see it. If you've already seen it, no problem. Revisit it. It's a wonderful movie. Sponsored by RadNet. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. It is a very funny romance comedy, and you're really going to like this one. Lots of fun relationships, and they all intertwine at the end. Get over it, the famous line from that one. And then on Saturday, we got another great one. That's talk about classic Westerns. Here we go. This one is The Missouri Breaks. It stars Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson. It's brought to us by City of Hope. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Who doesn't love a classic Western with two of the all-time great actors starring in this one? So make sure you watch that Saturday movie. All right, quick check of the weather before we go. And really, not much to say about weather, right? We're going to have 65 degrees today, and then we're going to get up into the 70s on Sunday and Monday, and then taper off just a little bit, 69 degrees on Tuesday. But great, dry weekend. No rain in the forecast, which I like right now. All right, folks, tomorrow on the program, we're going to welcome Harvard Eye Associates and assisted living locators to the program. So that's going to be Saturday's show. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.